Hey guys, my name is Vicky Tai. I am a real estate agent and owner of Tai Homes, and I wanted to just come on here and give you guys 8 tips that are very important for you to take into account when you're about to get your first home. Okay, so being a first-time home buyer could seem really complicated because there's a lot of things to take into account and there is a lot of information out there. But I hope that the tips I'm about to provide you guys make the process look a little bit clearer and guide you as you go about getting your first home. Tip number 1. Reading and protecting your credit is honestly one of the best gifts that you could give to yourself. Credit is everything in Canada, guys, okay? So please be careful with how you are signing up for car leases, how you are using your credit cards. Personally, I don't use my credit card except to have the money to pay it immediately because it could really affect your credit if you don't pay your bills on time and if you're sent to collections or if the amount you're using on your credit card is higher than 30% of what your overall credit limit is, okay? So just keep that in mind. As a first-time home buyer, the bank is going to want you to have a credit score of 650 and above. If you don't have that, you want to wait and take some time to build your credit. But if you do have that, you're one step closer to getting your first home. Tip number 2. So guys, lenders are going to ask for some documents in order to approve you for a loan. Amongst these documents are your pay stubs, your notice of assessment from the previous year, and your bank statement. They want to see that you actually have income coming into your account, and they also want to verify your source of income. When you give them your bank statements, they're going to be looking out for major expenses because they want to see that you're not spending a huge chunk of your income and that you can afford to pay the mortgage when they give you the loan. So it's better and advisable that you don't have major expenses coming out from the same bank account that you're going to be giving them that has your pay stub reflected in it, because they're going to ask more questions if they see major expenses in that account. So to be safe, have your pay stubs go into one account when the time comes, right? And have your major expense come from a different bank account so the lender they don't see it and ask more questions. Guys, like I said previously, you're going to need to provide some documents to the lender or the bank in order to get a loan. And notice of assessment is really important, right? So make sure you prepare this on time. They usually need the previous year, so make sure you must have filed for the previous year in order to get a loan the next year for your first home. The bank is going to want to see you're making enough income. So if you have a side hustle, make sure you reflect the income from that as well. Don't just reflect the one from a 9-to-5 job, right? Don't try to save on taxes. It's not worth it, guys, because the bank wants to see that you have enough income to pay the loan they're about to approve. So the more income you have, the higher the mortgage they could approve you. All right? Also prepare your pay stubs and also prepare your bank statements because they're going to need that as well. All the documents that you've gathered is going to first be used to get you approval by the bank or by the third-party lender. And the bank is going to want to approve your mortgage based on your GDS or TDS ratio. In a simple way, just think of TDS ratio as the ratio of your expenses to your income. So how much of your income do you spend on your expenses, right? The bank wants to make sure you're spending less than 40% of your income on expenses before they give you a loan. Because if you're spending 60 or 80% and above, what are you going to use to pay your mortgage when they approve you a certain amount, right? So the amount that you get pre-approved is going to determine the kind of home you get and also the location you're going to get your home at, because you know the real estate market is really crazy. So say for example you get approved for 400,000, that would typically mean that you can pretty much only get a condo in the GTA or a townhouse if you go a little bit farther to like Woodstock area or Oshawa or Ottawa, right? So it's really important you try to keep your expenses as low as possible and your income as high as possible when you're ready to get your first home. The 90-day rule pretty much states that your down payment has to be in your account for at least 90 days. The bank wants to be sure that you actually own the down payment and you didn't just borrow it from someone to show that you could pay. And they want to make sure that, the money wasn't obtained in a fraudulent way. That's why they want it to be in your account for at least 90 days. There's another way you could get a down payment and not have it in your account for 90 days. And that's if it was a gift from your friend, your family member, but the person who is gifting it to you would have to sign a gift form. And then that would waive the requirement for it to be in your account for 90 days. So one thing I love about the real estate market in Canada is that the government is actually providing a lot of assistance to first-time home buyers, right? It is really important that as a first-time home buyer, you understand the different programs out there for you, because a lot of them are no longer applicable to you after you get your first home. You can only use it that first time, right? And if you don't use it that first time, it's gone, right? So I'm going to cover 3 right now, and as time go on, I'm going to be introducing you guys to different programs as they become available. The first program I want to cover is the first time home buyer credit. So this is a non-refundable credit that you as a first time home buyer are going to get back, usually when you file your taxes the year you got your home. The amount could vary, so you could talk to your tax accountant after you get your home to find out how much credit the government is going to give back to you. Guys, the second incentive I want to talk about is by far my favorite. It is the Home Buyers Plan incentive, and this plan allows a first-time home buyer to borrow up to $25,000 from his or her RRSP without paying taxes on that amount. Okay? All right. Let me break it down. For those of us who don't know, the RRSP is a program that allows you save towards retirement here in Canada. So the government encourages people to save towards their retirement by making whatever amount that you put in your RRSP tax-free until you retire. All right? So say, for example, you make $100,000 this year, but you contributed $20,000 out of that money into your RRSP. The government is only going to make you pay taxes, right, on the $80,000 that was left from your contribution. Does that kind of make sense, right? Okay. So we all know that taxes here in Canada is crazy. So any help we can get to not have to pay taxes on all the money we earn, we'll take it, right? The only downside to that is you have to wait till you retire before you can get access to that money you deposited in your RRSP, because again, it's for retirement, right? If you withdraw the money before retirement, the government is going to make you pay taxes on it. Now, with this plan, first-time home buyers can deposit money into the RRSP and use that money to pay for their house without paying taxes on it. So as a first-time home buyer, it is advisable that you deposit your down payment up to $25,000, of course, because that is the maximum you can put into your RRSP, and then from that account, withdraw it for your down payment, because that way you'll be saving the taxes that you would have otherwise paid on that amount. It's an amazing program. You're going to end up saving thousands of dollars going through this program. And again, like I said before, if you don't use it in the first time you're buying a home, you can use it in your second or third homes, right? So make sure you understand it. If you have more questions about it, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to explain it to you. Okay? The third and final program or incentive I'm going to talk about is the land transfer tax rebate program. So this program is very straightforward. It pretty much gives you a rebate of the taxes you're going to pay when you buy your first home. And that tax is called a land transfer tax. The government of Ontario is going to give first-time home buyers that qualify for this program up to $4,000 in their land transfer taxes back to them after they pay the taxes, right? So this is another amazing program and another amazing way the government of Ontario supports first-time home buyers that are buying homes in Ontario. So guys, it is really important that you understand your closing costs as a first-time home buyer. It's not just enough to save for your down payment and okay, I have my down payment, give me my keys, right? There are also closing costs that are going to come when your house is ready for you to move into it. As a first-time home buyer, your closing costs typically, as a rule of thumb, could be anywhere between 1.5% to 3% of your overall purchase price. And these closing costs include administrative expenses, the lawyer expenses, the land transfer tax, right, that I mentioned in the previous tip. The good news is all of the programs I just talked about are going to help you save some money as a first-time home buyer in your closing costs. Guys, so the last and final tip I'm going to say is you need to be mentally ready to own a home. Guys, having a house or owning a home is no joke, right? Paying mortgages is no joke. This is not just like a lease or a rental apartment that you could just say, you know what, I want to move out any day, anytime. If you default, the bank is going to repossess because again, it is your property, kinda, right? I mean, they gave you the money to pay for it and that acts as a collateral against your loan. So you want to make sure you're mentally ready to put your mortgage first above any other expenses that you may have that are not as important as your mortgage. You want to make sure that you're prepared to take on such a huge responsibility because it is a huge responsibility. All right. So that's it, guys. Those are my 8 tips to assist you, a first-time home buyer, in getting your first home. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to clarify or give you more information. Guys, honestly, start saving towards your properties. The rental market is not going to get any better. It's going to keep getting crazy. So the earlier you can break the cycle and start living in your property and paying towards your mortgage and building equity, the better for you, okay? Again, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Other than that, have a blessed day and I'm out.